Yo, what up? My name's Don, and today we're going to be talking about this ESP LTD Eclipse 1000 Blue Natural Fade guitar that I just got recently. It is a used guitar, but it's in pristine condition, and I'm absolutely blown away by it. So I wanted to do a rundown and a bit of a review with you guys on the guitar. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so here we have my Eclipse 1000 Blue Natural Fade. I've been the owner for a couple weeks now. I did acquire this used, and it was a gift from a friend. So shout out to Wes, man, much love. Thank you so much. I wanted one of these since it came out, and I believe these were new for 2020. This one, the serial number actually starts with a 20, so this one was made in 2020, the first year that they were released. And I wanted this thing since I saw it. Little quirky tidbit about it is I'm Caribbean background, and the body, the blue, kind of meshing into that lighter poplar kind of tone, kind of reminds me of the beach, right? It just reminds me of the beach, and it's just blue's my favorite color, especially that deep royal blue. I love this thing. It's a joy to look at. It's a joy to play. Everything is just top tier about this guitar, and for one that I acquired 5 years after it came out from a previous owner, and I live in Canada, and it came from the States. It is in such flawless condition, so I've just been absolutely spoiled with this thing. So I wanted to share this with you guys and run through the spec list and kind of let you guys know what I think of it so far. So the first things first, it is a neck through guitar. As you can see there, it's got a very smooth kind of taper into that heel. It does go to full thickness. It doesn't have, to show the back there, it doesn't have um, a bevel cut like my Aero 1000 does behind me, my Violet Andromeda Aero 1000. But that really doesn't hinder the playability of the guitar. It's still such a joy to play, and your hand has full access up to those top frets, so not a problem at all. The scale of this one, it is a 24 fret guitar, and it is 24.75 inches. I don't notice, speaking about the scale of the guitar, I don't notice any difference. My old EC-256 Will Adler 200 is a 22 fret, 24.75 inch scale neck as well. And, I don't notice any playability differences between the three of my guitars. They have slightly different fret spacing. The body is mahogany, and the neck is a three-piece mahogany. The fingerboard on this thing is Macassar ebony. I am a huge fan of dark fretboards. All three of my guitars have dark fretboards, in fact, and it's something that's just in the back of my head now. I don't even think about it. It's almost like if it's like that's what a spaghetti guitar is supposed to look like to me, like with a dark fretboard. And when I see one that doesn't have a dark fretboard, like for example, you guys might see down in the side here, there's a guitar just sitting taken apart there. That's actually a project guitar that has a gloss maple neck. And every time I look at it, I'm just like, ugh. So I have it all taped off right now. It's going to be the first guitar I do a fret, complete fret job on. The neck we can't really do anything about, but you know, it's it's it definitely catches me off guard. So I'm a fan of the Macassar ebony fretboard. You know, um, my I think my other guitar, the Arrow, also has a Macassar ebony fretboard, and they're just a joy to look at. I'm really not sure if it makes a difference in playability at all, but they're just a joy to look at, and I think it really complements the rest of pretty much any guitar color that I look at personally. So that's awesome. The fingerboard radius on this thing is 350 millimeters. What does that convert to in inches? What's that? Let's see here. I didn't expect that to give us in millimeters. It says 13.7 inch for the fingerboard radius. Anyways, the finish is blue natural fade. Again, that's this very deep blue here. Now, one thing I notice is that, and you're going to notice with guitars that have these unique patterns, especially ones that are two-piece tops, um, is that they're all different. All the patterns are different, and I personally really like the pattern that I got. I didn't really have a choice, being that it was not new, so I just couldn't go to a website and be like, "Oh, I want that one specifically." This was actually surprisingly when we were looking on Reverb, it was the only ESP LTD available. There were other Blue Natural Fades available, but they were the ESP versions, not the LTD versions. So, within budget and everything, this was the one that came up, and I saw it and I was like, wow, that's gorgeous. one of the things I really don't like, and you probably can't see it from there, but at the bottom here on guitars that are two-piece tops, I don't know if I can show that maybe. You might be able to see it. I'll get a close-up. I'll get a close-up of it and show it in some B-roll, but I don't like what I call the butt line. It's the where the two pieces made up down at the base of the guitar. But on this guitar, they've done a fantastic job of kind of blending the pattern, and it's really not noticeable unless I'm staring at it and looking for it. So I'm a big fan of that. And the last thing is that a lot of the because the paint jobs all differ how much they're going to fade. A lot of the fades come up to about the bridge pickup here, the top of the bridge pickup, which just leaves if I put my hand there, it leaves not much of the rest of the guitar to be the natural burl poplar wood coming through. So I kind of really like how, it's like lower than the hip line, the waistline that I'm gonna, what I'm gonna call over the guitar. It's lower than the cinch, right? Where it starts to go into that blue. I really like that. You might not like that. And if you look at other blue natural fades, they are different. They're all different, but I really, feel like I got lucky with the one that I got. And so I'm happy to own it, of course. The nut width, it's 42 millimeters. This I'm not sure of the nut material, but I've never been one to actually upgrade the parts of my guitars. Like for example, my EC-256, which is like a 17, I don't know, somewhere between like 15 to 18 years old. I'm not really sure, give or take a couple years. But that guitar, um, I've never replaced anything on it. I have like the original like bushings, the original little like black bushing part on the tuners like rotting off and stuff like that. It still holds tune. It's just my old workhorse. It's my old faithful, and I've never replaced anything on it, never upgraded anything on it. And just it kicks, other than the pickups. I did put Fishman Fluence pickups in it because I absolutely love them. So and that's a bit foreshadowing, but we'll get to that later. So next, the nut type it's a molded nut. The neck contour is a thin U. I believe this is the same type of neck contour on my Aero 1000. If I'm not really sure, but I think that the Aero is maybe a bit thinner, but they're the same shape. This one just feels like it's maybe just a bit more thickness to the sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So that is only the only difference I noticed between the Arrow and this one. And my old Eclipse has more of a rounded, almost like I want to say baseball bat, but it does get a bit more rounded, a bit more beefy feeling. The frets, like I said earlier, they're 24 frets. They are stainless steel, jumbo size frets, XJ frets. So they feel absolutely glorious to just skate along. They're so smooth. And like I said, the guitar plays itself. Whether we're not plugged in right now, but whether I'm doing bends or anything like that, it's such a joy to play. And that is only complemented by the smoothness of the Makassar Ebony fretboard. It's probably not the smoothness. It's probably just because they're new and not all greasy and dirty yet, because I should do a better job cleaning my fretboards. But you know what I mean. Next, the hardware color on this thing is black. I think black is a wonderful color to complement the rest of the guitar. I couldn't really think of another color. If I could experiment, if I had the money to, maybe, I don't know, gold might look dumb on this. It might look a little gaudy. I'm not really sure. I feel like it's hard to visualize these things. I'm the type of person who kind of needs it in front of me. So, I have no problem with the color matching on this guitar. I think it's fantastic, and black complements it. The strap button, standard strap button. I like to put shallower locking straps and locking strap buttons in my guitars. With this one, I have been hesitant to do that. I'll be completely honest. I wasn't hesitant with my Arrow. I wasn't hesitant with my Eclipse 256, but over time, there's been a problem that has been developing with the shallow locking straps that I don't really know how to remedy. And so maybe I'll make another video on that if you guys are interested. And, you know, Shallow has made improvements. One of the things is that they used to have a standard screw width. So when you screwed it in, it was quite tight, and it used to crack the paint if you weren't super careful. Um, which, I've done just a tiny little crack. It doesn't matter. The strap button is technically covering it, but you still don't want to do that. It still feels bad to do that. So I don't really want to damage this guitar in any way. So I might look into a different, locking setup for this guitar. Anyways, that's for another video. The tuners, they're LTD locking tuners, and this is my first guitar with locking tuners. We can see them there. Kind of shine them in the light there. Yeah, you can see them there. There's nothing bad I can say about them. I don't have anything to compare them to. I know that people like Grover locking tuners and the Goto locking tuners and stuff like that and this and that, but I don't have any experience with those, so I can't really say anything good or bad about those locking tuners. All I know is that these ones work, and it's a new thing for me. So I've had a joy using them so far. I don't think if anyone is wondering if like they're good or bad as far as like stock locking tuners, I think they work great. They have a job. They do the job. I have no problem with that. We have, for the bridge, we have Tone Pro's locking tom and tailpiece, of course, standard. The only difference that I noticed with this one over my EC-256, I'm not sure if this is oh no, it's obviously not the same. My Arrow has a Floyd. Duh. How could I forget that? Anyways, the only difference with this is that it has a set screw. And so that set screw can set your height and lock your height in place. That set screw, you can see it from this side. So I'll try to get an angle of that and show it to you guys. But that's the only difference between this bridge and the bridge in my EC-256, my very old EC-256. And the reason they would do that is so when you take off the strings, for example, when you're working on guitar, that your bridge just won't fall off the posts. So that's cool. I never thought it was necessary because obviously the bridge is being held down by the strings anyway, but it is cool to, I guess, relieve the strings of that extra tension, or so, you know what I mean? Like relieve them of that duty so they can just rest on top of the bridge, and the bridge is held down by its own structural, design. Cool. We've got in the neck pickup. Now, here's where things got a little controversial. In the neck pickup, standard on this guitar used to be a Seymour Duncan Sentient. That would have been up here. And in the bridge pickup, there would have been a Seymour Duncan Pegasus. As you can see, these are clearly EMGs. I bought this used, and I did not put these pickups in. In fact, these are not the pickups that are going to end up in this guitar. Remember, bing, foreshadowing. So these are actually going to be replaced with these right here. These are Fishman Fluence Modern 3s, and I cannot wait to get these in. I've absolutely had a wonderful experience over the last couple years with my Fishman Fluence Modern V2s that are in my EC-256. I installed those myself, and oh, they're just so good. They're so good. The clarity, the punctuality, and I really do mean the clarity through things like having and running a lot of gain, which is something that I like to do. They've just been a fantastic experience. Not that EMGs are bad in any way. Obviously, when it comes to pickups, it's very much a preferential thing. And, what works for somebody might not necessarily work for the next person. But these EMGs are not going in the garbage or anything. No. You see that project guitar that I was talking about in the corner? Yes, that's right. These EMGs are going to go in that project guitar. We call it the Panera Bread guitar because it's going to be tuned down to 425 hertz for all the Pantera goodness. So that is awesome. We're going to have the new Blue Natural Fade with the Fishman Fluence Modern 3s in it, with the single coil, 3 voices and the single coil kind of sound to it, which is going to be very awesome because I'm going to be getting into more songwriting. So it's going to be very cool to experiment with those. I cannot wait. But I've never, going back to the original pickups that were in this guitar, I've never experienced the Seymour Duncan Sentient or Pegasus. I've only heard them in sound demos on YouTube. And from those sound demos, I could tell you that I would have replaced them anyway. They weren't really a tone or a sound that I liked. So I'm quite happy that these came with EMGs. No complaints here. The electronics were passive. Obviously, these EMGs are active. There is a battery in there, so no problems there. The electronic layout, of course, is going to be, we've got the volumes. Now, in this one, I believe it's set up visually correctly, meaning that this volume knob is for the neck pickup, top volume knob is for the top pickup, and the middle volume knob is for the bridge pickup. Now, and this would be the tone. Now, there's no push-pull on these EMGs right now. The original electronics would have had a push-pull on the tone knob. So once again, I just want to make that clarification. There is a difference in the way this guitar is set up right now, but when the Fishman fluents go in, it is going to be the way that I like to do it, actually, in the way that it's set up on my EC-256, is that the bridge pickup is actually the closer volume knob. And the reason that I like it that way, or at least I'm used to it that way, is because I feel like most of the time I'm on the bridge pickup. So I want that volume knob to be the one that is closest to my hand, and the one that I use lesser, which is the neck pickup, solos, et cetera, is the one that I want further away. It's the one that I adjust, um, the least. So for me, instead of doing it visually correctly, top knob, top pickup, I like to do it in the way of the one that I use the most is the one that's nearby to my hand. And then it's the same. I would have a tone. This would be my tone, and the Fishman fluents are going to have this as the push pull. So that is the way I will have it set up eventually. The strings, it came with 10 to 46s stock. These strings that are on it, again, this is used guitar, feels like a set of 11s. I like to put 11 to 54s on my my hardtail guitars. That is the set that's on my EC-256 right now. I have 10 to 48s on my Floyd Rose Violet and Andromeda Aero 1000. And on this guitar, it feels like an 11 to maybe 50, 52 set. I know that this bottom string just feels more uniform. It doesn't have the extra thickness that my 11 to 54 set has. So these strings are all right, but I will replace them. There's nothing wrong with them. They work and they sound fantastic. I have no idea if they're Diodarios or Uniball or whatever else they are, but that doesn't really matter. They work and I'm happy about that. So don't have to replace them until they break. And that's probably going to be in at least over a year because I don't break strings. Maybe I'm one of the lucky ones. Let me know down in the comments below if you're one of those people who breaks high E strings all the time. And that's it. Those are all the specs of the guitar. It's been an absolute joy. It's been an absolute joy. And we're going to have a bit of a sound, little sound clip now. I'll plug it in and play it for you. See you guys on the other side. All right, so when it comes to gain on these pickups, I've had a bit of a trouble dialing in a tone that I like with them, and that's because this specific set of pickups is really way too hot, and I'm not sure why. This, once again, is an EMG 81 in the bridge, 81 EMG 60 in the neck position, and I have compared this set of EMGs to the 8185 in my Arrow 1000 behind me, and for some reason, this set of pickups just comes in so much hotter into, my recording. So I've messed with the input levels and everything from my amp to Reaper to, the Windows settings, but still, it just seems to be the guitar that's so hot. This is the first guitar I've had with EMG's solderless system, so everything is kind of plug and play, and I didn't see any modifications or anything like that that would make it so hot and break up so much, which is weird because on the clean, when we go back to the clean, everything sounds really good on both the 81 and over in the 60. Super good. And maybe the person who had it before me never played on with any gain. This really makes it sound like I'm playing an acoustic guitar, but I'm clearly not. And I love the way it sounds. But when it comes over to, the gain channels, it just sounds really... It just sounds a little bit too much. I do like the tones that it's kind of hitting, but there seems to be some sort of staticky overtone. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Of course, there's a little bit of magnetic interference in my room, and I kind of know what to expect when it comes to that. But still, there's something to be said about the way the guitar sounds. It just doesn't sound quite right when you feed it that gain. So I can turn down the gain a little bit, which I've done. I've messed with everything from giving it a booster, turning down the gain, playing with the volume. It just starts to sound a little weak and tinny, so I'm not really sure what is going on with this specific set of pickups, but it is causing me some issues. Now, that's not really a big headache because, once again, the Fishman Fluence Modern 3s are going to go on this guitar quite soon, so I know what to expect with that kind of sound, being that I've had the Modern 2s in my EC-256, the camo guitar, for so long now. So I can't wait to get those Fishman Fluence in there. It's going to sound great. But if anybody has a set of EMGs, the 8160 set specifically, and you're having any of the same symptoms, or maybe you know what's going on here, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Bring it all the way over to the 60 here. It just doesn't sound quite right, so I'm not really a fan of playing this guitar when it comes to distorted channels, but when it comes to playing clean on this guitar, fantastic. So I'm just gonna chalk that up to the wiring. I'm not really sure what the previous owner did. Haven't messed with the wiring on this guitar at all yet, but when I do install it, these pickups in the other guitar, I will obviously redo the wiring and make sure everything is hunky-dory, because obviously there seems to be some problem, and most of the answers I find on the internet seem to point at it being a wiring issue. I kind of agree. I can't imagine it being anything else. I'm not going to blame the pickup specifically. I'm going to blame it on, user installation error. And again, I just haven't gotten into it yet, so that's that, really. That's what they sound like. Much better on the clean than they are on any type of distortion or any type of gain channels. And that has been my experience with them so far. So let me know what you guys think. And if anybody has any solutions for the EMG solderless system, especially when it comes to the 8160 set, please let me know in the comments down below. Now, with that being said, that concludes my review of my ESP LTD Eclipse 1000 Blue Natural Fade. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please hit that like button, share it out to your friends, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.